I'll tell you one thing that
hey, when my girls start to trip and hate before escape, I call Sirius XM 98. Yeah, Thursday, Foxxhole 7 to 9 to talk to ZoWilliams before I lose my mind. Yeah, I need advice on my relationship cause I'm about to start breaking. I can't take it no more. I got to holler at Zo, the relationship pro. Before we pack up and go, I got my foot out the door and down for leaving. But first, let me holler at Zo, the voice of reason. I got my foot out the door and down for leaving. But first, let me holler at Zo, the voice of reason.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's none other than the voice of reason, ZoMetheus, rising back with another heater. I'm telling you right now, you better get to your phone lines. This thing is about to go right through the roof. 855-369-9898. That's the number to dial. Tonight's topic, a lot of people been asking me to do a show on this, and I decided now's the time. We have great guests, and we have a lot of in-depth questions that need to be asked and answered. So, without further ado, let me tell you what tonight's topic is. Does the entertainment industry control our minds? A deeper look into the occult. Now, listen, a lot of people think that the occult runs entertainment. Now, I don't know. Conspiracy theories run wild. So listen, before I go into it, I definitely got to give out my Twitter page, at ZoWilliams. You got to follow me. If you have questions for our guest, if you want to ask a question, you could tweet me a question. I'll ask that question to our guests, and they can answer it for you. So follow me on Twitter, at ZoWilliams. Go to my Facebook. You can do the same on Facebook, ZoWilliams on Facebook. Let's go get it. You can go to my website, www.ZoWilliams.com. Tonight's topic, does the entertainment/music industry control our minds with the content they put out? A deeper look into the occult and the entertainment game. 855-369-9898. Now, I'm going to take a break, and when I come back, I'm going to hit you with questions, and I'm going to introduce my guests. Let's get busy. Ladies and gentlemen, ZoMetheus rising back in the building. Hey, I can't play with y'all tonight. This is a serious topic. Man, it's going to be incredible if you just tuned in. Tonight's topic, does the entertainment/music industry control our minds through the media, the content that they produce? A deeper look into the occult and the entertainment game. We have an incredible guest on right now. I got to go to him right before I even do questions because he doesn't have long, and we're going to try to use as much of this time to get him in to share his vast knowledge and information. None other than, let me just tell you, legendary. The dude is legendary, right? Jordan Maxwell continues as the preeminent researcher and independent scholar in the field of occult and religious philosophy. His interest in these subjects began as far back as 1959. He served for 3.5 years as the religious editor of Truth Seeker magazine, America's oldest free thought journal since 1873. His work exploring the hidden foundations of Western religions and secret societies creates enthusiastic responses from audiences all over the world. Trust me, he's done over 600 radio shows, written and produced, and appeared in numerous television shows. The dude is crazy. He's off the charts. I'm so pleased to have him. Brother Jordan Maxwell, welcome to the Voice of Reason. Can we get busy?
Well, thank you very much, Mel. It's interesting that people are starting to look at the possibility that Hollywood has something to do with the mess we're in. Yeah, it's pretty far gone. As far as I'm concerned, I used to be excited about trying to awaken my fellow man to what was actually going on, because I've lived here in Hollywood for 53 years. And I started talking about not just Hollywood, but about the whole apparatus that operates around the world, and especially in this country. And at this point, I don't really care if people understand anymore. I used to be zealous for what I do, but I've kind of become philosophical about what I do. Because after 50 years of talking to people about the reality of the government that they live under, and the world situation as it's growing worse each day, You do that for 50 years, and you become a little bit jaded in your in the way you look at things. So I used to be very, as I said, very zealous for trying to educate people. But today, I really don't care. I just figure if you're smart enough to figure out what's going on, then you know. And if you're an adult, you don't know what's going on, then maybe you're not supposed to. You should go back and watch basketball and believe whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Because the powers that be over this world are going to do what they're going to do, whether you like it or not, and whether you understand it or not. So, we don't have any control. And the reason, the American people don't have any real control over anything. They have no power, and the people know that. The people of America know they have no power. They can elect their leaders, but they cannot select their leaders.
What do you mean by that? What is the difference between electing and selecting?
Well, I mean, electing means I'm going to give you 3 or 4 people, 5 or 6 people that all work for me. And since I own the corporation, I own the company, I will decide who is going to run my company. So I will give you 5 or 6 different people that are in my group, and you can decide which one you like best. And then he will he'll be the president of the corporation, like the president of the bank, and all corporations have a president. And so the very word president means the head of a corporation. That's all. So,
wow.
So when I hear people talking about criminal conspiracies, and why does every police department and the Department of Justice and all Department of Justices around the world all have a criminal conspiracies division? And then you hear in the news about certain people, the Department of Justice is going out there because they were, and they've been involved with some kind of a, quote, criminal conspiracies, end quote. Well, people talk about the things I talk about, and they say that, it's a conspiracy theory. Well, I mean, why do governments have a criminal conspiracies division if there isn't such a thing as a criminal conspiracy? And so if the federal government comes after you and indicts you for being a part of a criminal conspiracy, they're not kidding. They're charging you with conspiracy, and you're going to prison. So therefore, when they say it's a criminal conspiracy, then it's important. But if I say that there's a criminal conspiracy, then I must be out of my mind because it's a bunch of silly nonsense.
Well, Jordan, let me do this, Jordan, because a lot of people seem to think that the entertainment industry sends out messages of this secret hand. Like, what is the agenda, and why would they use the entertainment industry to get that message out there?
Dick Gregory, my dear friend Dick Gregory, said it best. He said Hollywood does 3 things. They tell you what they've already done, what the powers that be are doing right now, and then what they're getting ready to do. So if you go back and understand that what we call the white man's beginnings is in Europe, and northeast, west, and south and southern Europe is where the basically the white man's has come from. And so if you go back into Europe many thousands of years ago, even before the Roman Empire existed, there was already a well-established way of life in Europe. And that particular system, we call it today the Druidic system. It was the Druids who were the priests and the lawgivers and the judges, and they were in charge of, generally speaking, civilization in Europe. It was called the Celtic or Celtic Druids. And among the Druids, the high officials, there was a symbol which they carried with them to let you know that they were the masters of the Druid establishment in ancient Europe. And that symbol was a magic wand. You've seen Merlin the magician with his magic wand, And orchestra conductors today use a magic wand for everyone to play to his tune. So when everyone's in the orchestra, they're being orchestrated to play a tune. And so the master he has a magic wand. Well, magic wands, if you look at the the history of a magic wand, magic wands were always made out of the wood of a holly tree. It was made out of Hollywood. And today we still are seeing the magic of Hollywood.
Wow.
And the reason why is because it's the wood of a holly tree that they made the magic wands out of. And so once you understand how, and that's a very important word to understand something. Let me give you an example of what that really means. If you have a two-story building and you have a lot of weight on the second floor and you're going to put a lot of weight on that second floor, the smart thing to do is to go downstairs first and get on a ladder with a building inspector and remove the ceiling tiles from the first floor and look at the foundation of that floor and see if it's going to hold that kind of weight. Therefore, what you're doing is you're standing under the foundation you're going to build on. This is where we get the concept of understanding. If you don't stand under, if you're not intellectually alert to what's going on behind the scenes, underneath the subject you're looking at, then you're really not going to have a very good understanding.
Wow.
So
Listen, so Jordan, hold that thought. I'm being told we got to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to let Jordan Maxwell finish that very powerful thought. If you're just tuning in tonight, man, this is crazy. We're talking about the music industry, the entertainment industry, and their power over us through the media, through the content they put out, and Jordan Maxwell is dropping bombs. 855-369-9898 is the number to dial. Does the entertainment or music industry have control over our minds? A deeper look into the occult and the music and entertainment game. We'll be back in 2.2 seconds with Jordan Maxwell. Is going down in the Foxxhole. I'll be back at 2.2.
Machiavellian is Illuminati all through your body. The blows like a 12-gauge shot.
Ladies and gentlemen, was Tupac right? Illuminati, that was a Hail Mary. That was, whew, he was on something. Was his death, was Biggie's death a part of a bigger conspiracy? To take out two prominent leaders of the world's most dominant culture, hip-hop? If so, why? I need to know. Who out there still believes that in order to make it really big in the entertainment industry, one must sell their soul to the devil? Or at least to the people in power. Who are the hidden hand known as the Illuminati? ZoWilliams is talking about it tonight. I've got a great guest on right now. Jordan Maxwell. Brother Maxwell, can you answer some of those questions? What happened with Biggie and Tupac? Why is hip-hop the most dominant culture on planet Earth? And is the entertainment's business, is this, their little secret agenda is to constantly inundate us with dumbed-down content to keep us distracted from what's really going on?
Well, yeah, first of all, if you ever saw the movie Eyes Wide Shut, that was a very, very scary movie because the man who produced and directed it, what was his name again? The producer for Eyes Wide Shut, very famous. He did 2001. Stanley Kubrick. Well, Stanley Kubrick died right just before that movie was released. And the talk around Hollywood, because I've lived here for 53 years, so the talk around Hollywood among the people who should know is that he was killed because of that movie. And because he was letting out some family secrets that were not supposed to be known. And I think he was a very bright guy who wanted to tell the world the way the way the world really works. And so he did a beautiful job in Eyes Wide Shut. But I've heard that a lot of the scenes in that movie were taken out, and it was bad enough as it was. But let me give you a secret to something I've learned a long time ago. That people will always support what they want. They will not support what they don't want. I mean, if they love country western music, you're not going to pay money to go to an opera. If you like eating at a particular restaurant, you're not going to pay money and support some place you don't want to eat. So people will always spend money and support what they want to hear, what they want to see, what they want to eat, what they want to wear. So knowing that, look at where people spend their money. They spend their money in churches. You can go to TBN and watch these preachers with 25 and 30,000 people showing up, paying $25, $30, $50 to go into to this God show. And God in Greek, the ancient Greek world, God was spelled Theo or The. The in Greek is God, which gives us our word the, as in theology, theocratic. The was God, which also gives us our word theater. So church is a theater, it's a God show. And when you watch the television or go to any of these churches on Sunday, you will see there's just packed with people, 25 or 30,000 people going to see the God show. They've got some mentally deranged misfit jumping around on the stage, ranting and raving about Jesus. But you look in the audience, and there's 30,000 people there who love it. And so it just shows that the whole human race wants to be ripped off. They love to crawl on their knees to the Queen Mum and to Prince Charles and to Princess Di and all of these people who consider themselves to be God. It just shows that the people of the world, no matter what color, no matter what country you come from, generally speaking, people love to support a dictator and their masters. And it's because even in America today, we live pretty good with our alcohol and drugs and music and crime and fancy cars in Hollywood. It's because the people, generally speaking, love that kind of stuff. They love it. And so, which basically is telling you, generally speaking, people are not interested in truth. They're not interested in legitimate, provable facts. It doesn't mean anything. People want to support what they want to support.
Wow.
And so that has nothing to do with color. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with being human. People love to crawl in the dirt, and they love to suck up the stupidity and ignorance and dim-wittedness that is poured out in the public trough by government and religion and politics and Hollywood. And so that's the world we live in, unless and until the people decide that they want something different. We'll always go along, to get along. And I'm telling you, the people are the power of any government.
So let me ask you. Let me ask you this quick question, because I posed it to a judge who was on the show last week, and we talked about the bench being a Latin word for bank. Could you just explain that really quickly, and just to show how people are just caught up in a system and they have no idea of what's happening? Could you explain the esoteric meaning of the courtroom?
Oh yeah, of course. Why do you go to court? You play tennis on a court. You play basketball on the court. The whole idea of going to in court, it's a game. This is why you have the two teams. You have one team of lawyers, and the object of the game is to put the ball back in the other guy's court. So one team of lawyers, they stand up and throw the ball back in your court. Then your team stands up and throws the ball back in their court. And therefore, that's why you're playing tennis or basketball on the court. And the reason why, I mean, that's a whole subject. When you get into law, how this stuff really works, and it's an extraordinary betrayal of the human race, the way the system has set up laws and government and religion, and the people have no idea in the world. And the best part is that, generally speaking, the people of this world don't want to know.
Right.
All they want is their beer and their entertainment, and we can talk about Hollywood all you want, how bad it is, but you go into any theater and it's crowded with people who love to wallow in the mire of stupidity and ignorance and blowing up cars and drugs and shooting and killing. That's what people love. They love it.
So Jordan, let me ask you this: where can people find you? Where can they, because, I mean, I've been studying you for a long time. I've been watching your videos and everything on astrology, astrotheology, the whole nine yards. Where can people find you? Because I know you got to leave. You said you can only be here for 30 minutes, and it's been 30 minutes, and I really appreciate your time. Where can they get you?
Well, just go on the web to jordanmaxwell.com. The Jordan is like the River Jordan. So it's jordanmaxwell.com, MAXWELL.com, and go to what's new. But when you go to my website, go all through the website. I would say a good 85 to 90% of the people I talk to that email and call me after going to my website have not seen much of anything. They don't investigate. They don't read anything on it. People will call me with questions that are answered right on the website.
Wow. So just take your time. Yeah. Just take your time. Well, let me just say this, Jordan. I really appreciate you for being on the show, and thank you for sharing the limited. I wish you could have stayed the whole 2 hours, because I know you have more than 2 hours worth of information. But I appreciate you sharing with us, and thanks again for coming on. And we're about to take another quick break, and when we come back, we've got more guests, we've got more questions, we've got more information. Tonight's topic is a doozy. The entertainment industry. Is there a secret occult movement to dumb us down and keep us mediocre? Ladies and gentlemen, Zometheus Rising, voice of reason, 855-369-9898. Call me. I'll be back at 2.2. Going to callers. Who's listening in on your conversation? Big brother? Is your phone tapped? 855-369-9898. We talking about the secret hand. In the entertainment industry, man. Does the entertainment and music industry control our minds? A deeper look into the occult in the entertainment industry, man. It's crazy. All of these movies, are they really telling us something? I can't believe all of those writers who went to college are just that creative. Who wrote The Matrix? 855-369-9898. Were the Wachowski brothers that deep? I don't know. Somebody talk to me. Is there a link between the Divine Nine? Anybody know who the Divine Nine is? The 9, sororities and fraternities, African-American sororities and fraternities, the Divine Nine, Alphas, Omegas, AKAs. Is there like a link between them, their origin, and the Skull and Bones? If so, what is it? And do you even care? 855-369-9898. Is the Illuminati, if the Illuminati is such a big secret, why is it mentioned in so many books and films and TV shows? What about Dan Brown's book? And subsequent movie. You remember that movie? What was Dan Brown's movie? I forgot the movie. Somebody's handed me something here. What is this? Sophie Stewart wrote, The Lady. The jury is still out on her, Sophie Stewart. But again, I'm just asking, if it's such a big secret, why does it keep popping up in all of these TV shows? I don't know. True or false? The cult of the Illuminati has been non-existent since the 18th century, when the Bavarian authorities shut it down. Maybe people are just making up stuff. How is the term alumni, illuminated, and Illuminati related? Somebody call me, 855-369-9898. And also, because it's such a religious thing, I guess, does the core Illuminati beliefs, differ from Christianity or Islam, or are they related in some kind of way? I don't know. But somebody's got to talk to us about it, and we have that somebody on deck. Let me ask another question. Would you care if Drake, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, 50 Cent, or T.I. were Masons or with the Illuminati? Would you even care? Does that matter? Somebody talk to me. Somebody's got to tell me something about what's going on in the world. Let me ask a couple more questions. Which actors, musicians, rappers, producers, managers, or otherwise do you feel are influenced by secret occult organizations? Many, many, many years ago, it was believed that rapper Eazy-E was a devil worshiper. Many years ago, a lot of people believed that. 855-369-9898. Somebody call me. How many of you believe that music and movie industries are controlled by orders and organizations? And there are tiers that you can get. You can only go so high unless you're in one of these or initiated into one of these situations. I don't know. Can you really spin a Jay-Z CD backwards and hear secret messages dissing Jesus? Really? I mean, I saw it on YouTube. Some preacher was preaching and said, see, right here, he said Jesus ain't shit. Well, he didn't say that in the church, but I'm exaggerating, but apparently that was, I don't believe any of that crap, but a lot of people do. 855-369-9898. I'm going to go to some callers, but before I do, I have to intro my next guest, Mark Dice. Mark Dice is a media analyst, political activist, and author who, in the entertaining and educational way, gets people to question our celebrity-obsessed culture, right? And the role that mainstream media and elite secret societies play in shaping our lives. Yeah, buddy. Mark frequently stirs up controversy from his commentaries, protests, boycotts. Listen, he's been on everything, the O'Reilly Factor, Fox News, ABC's, The Views, TMZ, all kind of stuff. You know, he's been mentioned on all of these things, man. So, listen, his work goes far and wide. Mark is on the show. I appreciate you for coming on. Mark, talk to me right now. Let's get busy, man. You heard the questions. Is the Illuminati real?
You got some great questions. You're thinking down the right path. And, yes, the Illuminati still exists. There's clear evidence that they survived the purge back in the late 1700s. And if you read their original writings, Adam Weishaupt, the founder, had actually made contingency plans in case that actual event were to occur. The Skull and Bones Society at Yale University, founded in 1832, is a clear modern-day extension of the Illuminati. They have the same rituals, the same symbols, the same ideology, the same methods of accumulating power, the same goals of creating a new world order, and controlling people through the media, through information. We have the declassified Operation Mockingbird program in the 1975 Senate Select Committee on Intelligence Activities within the United States, which clearly shows that the CIA at that time was paying $250 million a year under the table to all the editors of all major media outlets to act as gatekeepers and propagandists to shape the information, to shape the culture, to shape America's fears. And, of course, they say that that doesn't happen today, but that's about as laughable and realistic as when I got busted underage drinking when I was in high school. I told my parents I wasn't going to do it again.
But why do they do this, Mark? What is the purpose of shaping the information?
Well, you can control a society largely through the mass media, through the information that you put out to the masses, through the culture, through the fears, the tastes, the entertainment that shapes all of these things. And a society is more manageable if they aren't engaged in the political process. If they're more concerned about their football game or who's on American Idol, they're not going to be hassling their politicians. They're not going to be really interested in what's going on in Washington, D.C. They're not going to be inclined to vote. They're not going to be inclined to go to protests, to call their congressmen, their senators, to sort of raise hell when things aren't going the way that they need to be going. And so the Illuminati realized back in the 1700s when Adam Weishaupt first created the organization, that the masses are easily distracted and can easily be manipulated through the control of information. Obviously, in the 1700s, we didn't have radio and television, but they knew the power of printing houses and print shops and even book clubs and bookstores. And then you have a modern-day extension of the media control today through the entertainment industry, through the mass media monopoly of television, cable news, broadcast journalism. I mean, Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, Mark Levin, these guys all work for the same company. They're
wow.
They're all working for premier radio networks. That's their syndicator. And so these people all have the same talking points, the same agenda, the same list of items that they're not supposed to talk about, the blackout list. You know, why do you think that nobody has really heard of the Bilderberg group, which just had a meeting last weekend, which I was attending the protest along with hundreds of other people outside of Washington, D.C. in Chantilly, Virginia. This is 100 to 150 of the world's most powerful men meeting in secret under armed guards in a hotel over an entire weekend every single year for over 50 years, but yet you never hear really a peep about it on any of the mainstream channels.
Right, because we're worried about if Pujols is going to hit a homer this time at bat, or if the Lakers are going to get past OKC. We're worried about those kind of things, right?
Yeah, and you know, while not everybody needs to be a watchdog, the watchdogs have become either co-opted or too lazy or too distracted. We've sort of just taken for granted the fact that the belief that America would be fine, that people are running the country, know what they're doing, they have our best interests in mind, and that's why we're in this mess that we have. This financial collapse, the war on terror. I mean, these things aren't accidents. These are pre-planned by the occult elite Illuminati. These are the invisible empire, the ruling elite. These are
okay. So look, Mark. Look, Mark. You are doing a great job. I am so appreciative of the information you're sharing. We got to take a quick break. When I come back, would you mind finishing that thought?
Not at all, man.
Hey, man, this is great. Oh, God, this is great. 855-369-9898. When we come back, we're also going to take some callers. This show is crazy. Does the entertainment industry control our minds? Why, how, when? We don't know, but we got great guests, and they're telling us how to do it. Call me in a minute. I'll be back at 2.2. Got to take another quick break. We'll be back with Mike Dice. Let's go. Mark Dice. We'll be back. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not learning from this show, if this show isn't making you better, I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. I try to just hit you upside the dome every week after week, with different topics that enlighten and enliven us, that challenge the way we think, the status quo. Tonight's topic, crazy. Does the entertainment industry, music, movies, TV, books, whatever, control our minds? And for what purpose? Is there a secret society trying to dictate what we should think, how we should think? I've always said, because this is a relationship show, I always said, relationship-wise, we interface through ideas. So whoever writes the ideas that we interface with really is in control of us. 855-369-9898. Oh, my goodness. We've got Mark Dice on. This guy is incredible. He's an author, written several books on the current events, secret societies and conspiracies, including his newest book, Big Brother, The Orwellian Nightmare Come True, which is available on Amazon.com, Kindle, and Nook. He's on with us right now. We're going to bring on another guest. And then this guy right here, we talk about heavy, Dr. Robert I'm going to say it right, Hieronimus, right? Dr. Robert Hieronimus, and he's on fire. He's going to be here with us in 2.2 seconds after I finish reading his thing. His doctoral research on American symbolism has been used by the White House, State Department, and the Department of the Interior, as well as being turned into two popular books, Founding Fathers, Secret Societies 2006, and American Symbolism, United Symbolism of America in 2008. Brother is on with us right now. He's on with my brother Mark Dice. We're about to get some callers in, but right now, let's talk to Mark Dice and Dr. Robert Hieronimus. Talk to me, Robert.
Well, how you guys been doing tonight? You know,
just great,
doing
man.
Well, of course, and corporate structures, as you probably well know, control what we know and think. You don't need to have secret societies for that. It's been going on for a long time in dealing with corporate structures. And as a matter of fact, it looks as if they're about, since they're all people now and they can vote, looks like they're about ready to take over our country. Isn't that something?
That's amazing.
But when you talk about this subject, dealing with the founding fathers and secret societies, most of, I'm sure you probably are aware of, that Jimi Hendrix had a deep interest in this kind of stuff. And a little bit of time that I spent with him back there in 1968 in July, he actually did drawings of the pyramid and the eye and the triangle, because when we got together, he used to talk about, Bob, it seems to me that there's more to this country than just the physical country. When you take a look at that eye and the triangle and the pyramid, and you take a look at that, the combination of them, the mottos and all that kind of thing, it's talking about a country, he said, that I have never heard of before, never seen before, but I believe we have a spiritual destiny, and it's found in that particular symbol. Wow. Most of the people that get involved in this kind of stuff, unfortunately, need to do some research, serious research, going to the primary documents, primary sources, which are damn important. And we didn't have a good history of the Great Seal of the United States. We didn't have a history of this particular symbol until 1978. You go to the bibliographies, almost all the people that, there are hundreds of books on this particular topic. Go to the bibliographies and see if you find the State Department's The Eagle and the Shield. If they got it in their bibliography, then they know what they're talking about. If they don't, it means they haven't done their research. That's a serious problem.
So, Dr. Robert, can I call you Bob?
Sure.
Okay, and this is a question for you and Mark.
Yeah.
The symbols on the dollar. And all of the symbol, and if you've ever been to D.C., the symbolism all over the city is crazy, right? But for me, aren't those anti-Christian symbols? And how do they reconcile that and at the same time being Christian? How does that work?
Well, first of all, this isn't a Christian nation. The eye in the triangle has been used by Christianity for a couple hundred years. You find it especially in Europe. It's not anti-Christian. This country was founded to be free from religion. You could choose your own religion. We have Thomas Jefferson to thank for that, the separation of church and state. Fundamentalists, of course, hate that. They want this to be a Christian nation. And they deplore all of the symbolism you find in Washington, D.C. But then again, they don't read what the Founding Fathers said. They take a look at the symbol of, say, for instance, the motto, Novus Ordo Seclorum. It's Latin. Charles Thompson, who gave us that motto, was a Latin scholar. How did he translate it? He translated it as the New Order of the Ages. Now, what do folks like Jordan Maxwell, dozens and dozens of people say? Well, no, it's the order, the New Order of the Ages is actually the New World Order. That's not the translation. Any Latin scholar, call a Latin scholar, go to Wikipedia. Well, you can't always, that's not always accurate.
Yeah, Wikipedia,
right. Check that oil, as we used to say in the old days, and you find out that that's not how it's translated. The New Order of the Ages is a republic, a representative form of government. It's not a monarchy. It's not controlled by corporate structures, which we have today. We're all getting all excited about this kind of symbolism when our country is literally falling apart.
Wow.
And we're about ready to have an election, and we have, in my opinion, a very important president who's been dixed, eliminated by many, many thinking people. And I think that's going to be a serious problem, because this is a statesman we have. That's my opinion.
Wow. This is good stuff. Mark Dice, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, what we have when you look into the Masons, obviously it's a modern day mystery school. They have been and are on the cutting edge of knowledge. The Masonic G stands for knowledge or Gnosticism, the modern day extension of the ancient mystery schools. And what we have here is essentially the modern day Illuminati, or the ruling elite that we have, is a connection of secret society, super intelligent, super wealthy, powerful people that have gained this knowledge through their education within the modern-day mystery schools and through the private networks. They've been able to get themselves and their fellow secret society members into positions of power. And as we know, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And these spiritual supremacists believe that this secret knowledge that they get from the mystery schools enlightens them so much that they become godlike here on earth.
Well, you know what, Mark? That's interesting you mentioned that, because that's a part of the Masonic part of their ceremony. They apothesize, like they apothesize George Washington. Apotheosis. The process of apotheosis is raising a man to godhood. And a lot of people don't know that George Washington is one of the people that have been apothesized. He's been raised to godhood in the Masonic, I would say, mythology. And you just said something that I've always thought, and I've thought myself to be this, without even being a part of the Illuminati. And that is a spiritual elitist. And I think that's what they are. It's spiritual elitism.
Wait a second, guys. Wait a second. Look.
Go in. Come on in, Robert.
Hey, look, when you look at the eye and the triangle and the pyramid, who in the world were Illuminati or Freemasons that designed that symbol? Who?
Was it Benjamin Banneker? No.
No.
Go ahead.
Benjamin Franklin. No, Benjamin Banneker was great. Did you say Benjamin Banneker?
I sure did.
Now, there's a man. I mean,
let's go deeper then.
This guy was way ahead of his time. You know, the Dogon tribe, the Star Sirius, that's the man. But that's not what we're talking about, of course.
Hey, that's all right.
Benjamin Franklin was the only Freemason that sat on all of those committees, and his ideas came from the Bible. They were rejected. We had no one who was a Freemason that designed the Great Seal of the United States.
Wow.
This
is good stuff.
We've been told that 50 of the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence were Freemasons. Have you checked?
It's true.
No.
It's true. Yeah.
9.
Yeah.
Only 9? Only 9. It has all been exaggerated. Now, look.
So they weren't, are you telling me they weren't Freemasons?
It's not that I do not believe there are conspiracies, because there are. You take a look at various secret societies up at Yale University and elsewhere. Yes, indeed. But they're corporate structures. The Freemasons along this line are small potatoes in regards to that. They don't have the power. They don't have the money. They don't even have that within their structure to be able to do these kind of things. They're falling apart. So how
Mark?
in the world are they going to take over?
So go ahead.
To realize that that most of the founding fathers were master masons, which is actually the third degree out of 33 degrees. So they were actually lower level masons, not into the real deep esoteric occult mysteries. And the ancient Masonic structures, Masonic organizations really gave birth to the more modern-day Illuminati structures and secret societies, the more sinister, more dark, more perverted organizations like the modern-day Illuminati, the Skull and Bones Society, the Bilderberg Group, the Bohemian Grove, these clearly satanic, evil, corrupt, perverted secret societies that have taken the cutting-edge knowledge of the ancient Masons regarding science, technology, social science, monetary policy, banking, and have kept that and sort of gathered it amongst themselves to then use to their own advantage at the expense of others. Every religion, most basic religions, welcome everybody in and want to teach the teachings to everybody. They have nothing to hide, except you get these spiritual supremacist modern-day mystery schools like the Skull and Bones Society, even Scientology to an extent, the Bohemian Grove, Bilderberg Group, Council on Foreign Relations. These are spiritual and spiritually supremacist organizations that, unlike Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, instead of welcoming everybody in and helping them understand the spiritual teachings, they actually lie to others about what it is that they're doing, trying to deceive, try to keep people away from having that knowledge, because, as they know, knowledge is power, and they would prefer that the little people, the average person, does not have access to that power, is kept in the dark.
Are you
wow.
a Freemason?
Okay, so wait, hold on one second. Hold on, Robert, hold on one second. I got to take a quick break.
Oh.
But when I come back, we're going to start with your question to Mark Dice if he's a Freemason. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2.2 seconds. This is Off the Chain. I'll see you in a couple minutes. It's getting crazy. I'll be back. This show is on fire right now. We're talking about the music industry, movie industry, just the entertainment industry in general, and how it has this effect over us. And we're talking about secret societies. There's been this big internet swirl. Oprah is she's in the occult, and she's anti-Christian, and this is new age, and everybody knows that entertainment and media is very, 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 very powerful. So when those images and messages get out there, if you have an old, archaic belief system, sometimes you get that information and it goes through that filter, and now you can't help but judge it or label it as evil or satanic or whatever. Oprah went against Jesus. Wow. Woo! We've got great guests on to talk about this and secret societies and the hidden hand behind things. Author Mark Dice, he's on with us right now. He has a new book called Big Brother, The Orwellian Nightmare Come True, which is available at Amazon.com, Kindle, and Nook. We also have Dr. Robert Hieronimus. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Dr. Robert Hieronimus, Ph.D. He's on with us as well. His doctoral research on American symbolism has been used by White House, State Department. But put it this way, the boy's resume reads like a phone book. So he's been doing a whole lot of stuff. Dr. Bob, talk to me real quick before we go to callers. You were asking Mark Dice before we went to break if he was a Freemason or not. Mark, can you answer that question?
Well, Manly P. Hall was a 33rd degree Mason. What Robert's getting at is he's trying to insinuate that if I'm not a Mason, then how could I know about what the Masons believe and what they do? So let me answer that with Manly P. Hall was a 33rd degree Freemason who was endorsed by the official magazine of the governing body of Freemasonry, the Scottish Rite Journal, as the most prolific Freemasonic philosopher. And I have multiple books from him where he clearly outlines that Freemasonry has a inner circle, a secret society within the secret society, where he says on page 433 of his book, Lectures on Ancient Philosophy, that the Invisible Society is a secret fraternity whose members are dedicated to serving a mysterious secret of secrets, and that it is a, quote, fraternity within a fraternity, an outer organization concealing an inner brotherhood of elect, the visible society.
There is an inner brotherhood of elect, but the reason why I asked you that question is I knew you used that source, Manly Palmer Hall. I corresponded with Manly Palmer Hall for 20 years. I know him well. However, Manly Palmer Hall was not a Freemason when he wrote his books. Do you know that? He wrote these books in 1927 and 1932 and 1938. He was a Freemason in the 1950s. He didn't know what he was talking about, Mark. You got to do your homework.
Is that
but Mark, let me do this. Let me do this.
What sources are you using?
Mark and Dr. Hieronimus.
Pike?
Dr. Hieronimus, hold on one second.
Well, I know, but come on.
Mark, did you answer the question, though? Did you answer the question? Are you a Freemason or no?
No, he's not.
Is that why? And if he didn't know what he was talking about.
Why I asked the question.
If he didn't know...
Oh, jeez.
All right, let me talk. I'm going to ask a question, make an accusation, let me answer it. If he didn't know what he was talking about, then why... Okay, yeah, try to just...
Go, all right, Dr. Hieronimus, just let him answer the question, please. Just let him answer it.
If he didn't know what he was talking about, then why did the official governing body and the Scottish Rite Journal endorse him as Freemason's most prolific philosopher and endorse his ideas?
He was a philosopher. He was not a Masonic historian. What you need to do right now is contact any Freemasonic research center, and you will find out, especially in Washington, D.C., you will see that although they honored him, they never called him a Masonic scholar. He made so many mistakes. Same thing with Albert Pike. Now, but these are two.
Albert Pike was a 33rd degree Mason. Albert Pike rewrote and designed the rituals
because you're not a Freemason, you don't know that all you need to know in Freemasonry is up to the 3rd degree.
Okay, so listen, for both of you guys, we have a Mason on the phone right now.
Yeah,
Let's go to the Mason and see what he has to say. Dante, West Virginia, go.
Yes. Zoe, you're doing an awesome job. I got much love and respect for you. And everything you have, good and bad. Okay, if Masons were so secretive as people say, then we wouldn't be able to tell you if we're a Mason or not. Okay, we're not secretive. You don't let everybody know what's going on in your house, do you? You know, and most Masons that either talk bad about Masonry or down Masonry, or if they were Masons, they got kicked out for some reason, or another.
He's right.
The thing is, we're a brotherhood. We're together. We're not trying to run the world, as people try to say. We just stick together and we do. We give to different organizations. Matter of fact, we give a lot to scholarship funds. Stuff like that. I'm a 32nd degree consistory. Okay, the highest you can go is 33rd. And the thing is, we do not worship the devil. We do not do any of that. I come from a strong Christian family, and my grandmother, may she rest in peace, and my mother and them would not support me if I was into any type of devil worshiping whatsoever.
Wow, Dante, thank you for that.
Meaning let's clearly. It's clear. I've interviewed. I know a 33rd degree Mason, and of course I've studied all the teachings that Lucifer or Satan is the good source of knowledge within the secret societies. Well, let's talk about your view of Lucifer there, Mr.
Let's go into that. Hey, Robert. Robert, answer the question. Go ahead, Robert. Answer, because I want to hear from you.
Lucifer is the light bringer.
That's what his name means.
Another translation here. You know where you get this information? You get this information from Albert Pike. Mm-hmm. And Albert Pike, if you do your research. This is the most important thing about going to primary sources and documentation. You cannot keep quoting a whole bunch of other people who have never done their research, and that's what you're doing. Who are your major sources in this area?
Albert Pike was a 33rd degree Mason. Albert Pike and other Manly P. Hall, Helena Blavatsky, of course. The philosophical definition of Lucifer as the light bearer is well known within the occult circles. They symbolically, literally, metaphorically, allegorically, whatever, it's still all the same thing. View Satan and Lucifer as good. Yes, they are the same thing. Let me tell you why.
Well, you both can't talk at the same time, so finish your point, Mark.
I'll tell you what. Why don't you stick with this man here? I'm going to leave, mainly because, I've done thousands of shows. Thousands. I've been doing this research for over 50 years. When you don't use primary documentation and you keep choosing secondary sources and you're putting something down that you really don't know about, okay, you guys may consider that reason. I don't. Mm-hmm. Reason is about good documentation. Reason is about telling the truth. And what you're saying here when you bring up Manly Palmer Hall, I love the man. I worked with the man. I knew I can show all my documentation on that, but he made big mistakes. A 3rd degree Mason is key because he is a master Mason. Freemasonry is all about balance. It's all about the balance of the physical world and the spiritual world. And they can show you how to reach your soul. Once you reach your soul, you become almost as knowledgeable as the Supreme Being. That's what your soul is. It's immortal. They teach you how to get there through service to others.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Robert, hold on one second, Dice. Let me ask Dr. Robert, this one question. So why do you think that it's so misunderstood, Freemasonry and the occult and all of that? Why do you think it's shrouded in such confusion?
It's only shrouded in confusion because it has been ignored. This topic has been ignored for so many decades, and that's very unfortunate. And because of that, there have been a number of individuals that have written about this that really haven't done the research. They put it out before the documentation was complete on the eagle and the shield about the Great Seal. I mean, I never got a chance to ask Mr. Dice how many of the founding fathers were Freemasons, or who was a founding father that designed the symbol of the Great Seal, because the Great Seal of the United States is not the symbol of the Illuminati. There has never been an eye in a triangle over a pyramid in the Illuminati materials.
That's incorrect. Actually, I have a documentation from an Illuminati lodge from 1798 that clearly shows a pyramid with an all-seeing eye, a sun symbol over the top of it.
A sun symbol
from
over the top, but not an eye in a triangle. There's a big difference between an eye in a triangle and just an eye in the heavens. This is what I mean about BS. Look, guys, you guys have a good time.
Man, this is good.
Because it's obvious that your audience loves you. And, I've been doing radio for 25 years, but, it's 25 minutes of 11. I thought it was going to be called, quarter, but I don't know. But right now, I've got my own work to do, but let me just leave you with one thing, and that is this. Ziggy Marley is coming in your area on July the 15th.
Uh-huh.
Please, go see him. He's a man that knows about this stuff. He's a man that I've spent time with that realizes what's going on in this planet. There is an imbalance. There is imbalance of too much testosterone in this country. We're always going to war. Women have been long ignored. If we do not have a balance of male-femaleness in this country, the entire planet is going to fail. Now, the Dalai Lama in 2005 basically said this. The country, the only thing that's going to save this planet is the women from the Western world, because they have that kind of freedom. Unfortunately, that's not what's going on. Look, I apologize if I've disappointed you guys.
No, you didn't disappoint me. You might have got disappointed, but I'm good. I really appreciate your time and your energy and your information.
Listen, obviously, in order to understand this entire subject takes a great deal of time. It didn't take me 40-some years to do this research to get to just speculate on it, because I know the Worship Paul Foster case, Theodore Lean, Manly Palmer Hall, Pike, and all these other folks.
Let me ask you this.
Well, listen, wait, this is what we have to do. We have to do this really quickly. Dice, just stay with me, Dice, because I got to take another quick break. I went over by letting you guys get into the battle royale, but I got to take a quick break, and when I come back, Dice, you'll be with me, and we can finish talking. So this is crazy. I'll be back. We've got a whole full line of callers. We're going to come back to them as well. We'll be back at 2.2. Woo! Radio fights and everything. I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in to the Voice of Reason. Another heater. Hey, sometimes, man, somebody got to get angry. If you're just tuning in, entertainment business, secret societies, mind control. Are they trying to dumb us down with dumb content? We're talking about it all right now. Is there a secret agenda to keep people stupid? Is the Illuminati real? Is Jay-Z and Beyonce the Illuminati's favorite couple? I don't know. Why is Jay-Z wearing an Aleister Crowley shirt that says Thelma on the front? Thelma, of course, was a religion that Aleister Crowley put together. Thelma is, I think it's a Greek term that means do as thou wilt. Do as thou will. People saw Jay-Z with that shirt on. They said, Jay-Z's a devil worshiper. Of course, Jay-Z did a record called Lucifer on the Black Album. I'm just saying. 855-369-9898. We got great guests on, man. Just had a big argument. Dr. Robert Hieronimus just blew his top like an old teapot, just whistling. But I love him. I'm glad he was on. And that should tell you how serious it is. People are asleep. The Matrix is real. People are asleep. So I really appreciate his passion and his energy. And the reason why he was on was to share that information. We got a little off topic, got into the history and who created what and who built the symbol and who are you to be talking, and it was just great. Mark Dice is still on with us right now. Mark Dice, of course, is a media analyst, political activist, and author. His latest book is, hold on, callers. We're going to go to callers, but not right this second. His latest book is Big Brother, The Orwellian Nightmare Come True, which is available on Amazon.com, Kindle, and Nook. He's with us right now. Mark, what happened to Robert?
You know, he was making a lot of sense because he's talking about he's defending the Masonic organization because he feels like it's such under attack, and people do lump all of Masons in with the dark devil worshippers. And while I wanted to acknowledge that a lot of what he was saying was accurate, because what really he should have identified with is that the Masons are on the cutting edge of knowledge, spirituality, the divine power. And so that's why he's trying to defend them as a good organization. But what he apparently wasn't willing to admit or accept is the fact that those organizations, those mystery schools, which were once good on the cutting edge of science, technology, astronomy, banking, monetary policy, have been hijacked by the dark Illuminati, who have perverted those teachings, have used them to take advantage of everyone instead of to unlock the power and connect everybody with the divine. Mm-hmm, so I think he feels a little too much under attack because a lot of people are ignorant. A lot of people do jump to conclusions, do sort of lump all of the Masons in with the Illuminati when it's just a perverted dark inner circle that has taken them. I mean, as you know, if you find something powerful, you usually don't want to share it with other people. And if you find something so powerful as the divine spiritual truths of reality, the answers to our past, present, and future, you could probably understand, though, how some people would not want to share that with other people because it's very freeing, very liberating. And so what's happened with the ancient mystery schools, they once were good. They were on the cutting edge of defining our own existence. But because there has been a group that has saw the power of that, has hijacked it, perverted it, sort of closed a lot of doors for people so that they can't access that, and that is what we have with the Illuminati today.
And you know what's interesting about that? Man, you're touching on something that's really near and dear to my heart, because I believe every human being on the planet Earth has the potentiality to really raise to the top of their own personal pyramid, which is self-realization or self-actualization. And I think a lot of this, through the apparatus of religion, has stunted the spiritual growth of people. I mean, you could go back to the evolution of the Bible, and you look at the Bible when King James got the Bible in 1611 A.D., he basically took it from a couple of sources, the Greek and the Latin. But the Latin was called the Vulgate, and Vulgate, of course, in Latin comes from vulgus, which means commoner. So he basically dumbed the esoteric down in the book and just took all of the real deeper Gnostic meaning out of it so it could be more palatable to the masses. And I think what happens when that happens, now you cut people off from reaching higher levels, because I believe there are Masonic preachers who don't want to give up the secrets. What do you think of that, Mark?
Yeah, well, you are making some sense. I would agree with you to a certain extent, but I don't know that everybody has the ability or is able to sort of, rise to the certain self-actualization level.
You don't think everybody could do it?
Well, I don't know, man. The power's out there. It's right in front of them, and I think that the Bible, for example, I think speaks to people on the level that they're able to understand it. If somebody wants to read the story of Noah and bringing every animal in and taking that literally, then that's their right. That's their intellectual limitations. But then somebody else, as they're growing spiritually, as they're maturing in life, would maybe look back on that story and say, well, okay, I see that as an allegory, kind of teaching a moral lesson of being prepared for the future, even in the face of ridicule. When you know what's right, those others who don't know and don't understand will ridicule you and will make fun of you. But if you just do what you know is right, make the preparations, follow your heart, you will be. You will come ahead. You'll be protected. You'll be saved. And while Jesus tried, I believe, to release the spiritual teachings to everyone, to give everybody an access to God, then the Catholic Church came along and basically tried to suppress it again and tried to package up the Bible, keep everybody from having access to it, and again, keeping God in a box and then selling it and keeping it for themselves.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this because we have some callers. They've been hanging on for so long. I got to get to them. Would you mind taking a few questions or listening to some of what they have to say? Cool. Let's go with it. O from D.C. Let's go.
Big Zo, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Let's roll.
All right, then. First of all, Mr. Wise, Zo, y'all are doing a great job. So keep up what you're doing, man. Basically, with Hollywood, I'm going to keep it on that level. There's always going to be a level of secrecy, and unfortunately, when you put it in the text of like Hollywood is based on the dollar. Basically, if God is selling in Hollywood is going to sell God all day long, as long as it's making money. What happens is entertainment goes through shifts of, okay, what's selling? This is selling, okay, we're going to go with that until we bleed it dry and then jump to the next thing. I use the example of Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry was doing stage plays in black churches until Hollywood came along and said, hey, you're making millions of dollars selling your DVD. How are you doing it, and how can we get in on that? Basically, you turn it, we as the American public have to turn it to our good. If you say that this, what you're looking at is wrong, and it's just, there's some demonic nature in it, and we just don't want it, turn it off. If you turn it off, Hollywood's going to get the message. Because
and then whatever you say, they'll get on board with whatever you say if it's enough of yous out there asking for it, right?
Absolutely.
Hey, man, I appreciate the call. I got to keep it pushing. Kenneth from Mississippi. I got to take Kenneth, man. I got to roll, brother. I appreciate you, but I got to roll. Kenneth, what's happening?
Hello?
Yes, keep it short, brother. 30 seconds.
Yeah. First of all, I want to know the first caller's name. What was his? I mean, not the first caller, but the first speaker.
The first guest was Jordan Maxwell.
Jordan Maxwell.
Yes.
Okay. And what was Doctor? How you spell his last name? Hieronimus.
Hieronimus? No, it's Hieronimus. It's Hieronimus. Hier.
I'm sorry.
One
more time. Imus.
Yes.
Okay, and dice is D-I-C or D-Y-C?
Just like A. Who controls the dice? You feel me? He got the dice. D-I-C-E. Let's go.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say America is the most brainwashed country in the world.
Wow.
And the Illuminati is for real. And the World Trade Center bombing, America did that to themselves.
Well, are you outside of America, or are you with us? He said to themselves. No,
I'm in America, but I'm telling you who did it.
Okay.
America did it.
All right. Well, a lot of people ain't going to like hearing that, but, hey.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not. And they blew the levee in New Orleans. They did that, too.
Wow. Okay. If you agree or disagree with my man Kenneth from Mississippi, call me right now, 855-369-9898. Alan, Chicago, talk.
What's up, my brother?
I'm good, man. What's happening?
Hey, man, we've hit some serious topics. We got a little off topic tonight, but a really good topic. I'm going to switch gears for a second. We were talking about secrecy and religion, and I just had a question. Anybody want to speak up on this? What happened to the Dead Sea Scrolls? Remember back in the late 40s, they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, and some in the early 90s, they had a tour and showed some of them, and they've kind of disappeared, and I'm sure they've translated this. Now, the question is, why is this such a big secret? Are the Dead Sea Scrolls such a threat to what we know or the timeline we have as far as Christianity that they don't want people to see what it is or understand what it is?
Okay.
I mean, again, I'm sure they've translated it all this time.
Well, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. We'll talk about it off the air real quick. Again, I think, Mark, you covered that when you talked about, culture. We interface through ideas. So if the Dead Sea Scrolls had anything in it that may have contradicted Christianity the way we presenting it today, they'd probably say, hell no, we ain't going to put that out. Maybe that was the issue why we ain't heard nothing from the Dead Sea Scrolls. What do you think, Mark?
Well, some of the Dead Sea Scrolls actually confirmed a lot of the stories in the Bible and were actually other older versions of the same stories. I think the reason why they're not part of popular culture is because most people aren't interested in boring history and things like that. Some people have really forgotten, and most people have forgotten or don't really care about who we are, where we've come from. They're just sort of living in the now, pinballs being bounced around in the pinball machine of popular culture. So I don't see any big conspiracy with the Dead Sea Scrolls. You can go and read them. I have a book with English translations of them today. No big conspiracy there. I do want to speak on something somebody mentioned about, Hollywood will sell what's hot. That isn't always true, because I shot a pilot episode with Tommy Lee from Motley Crue for a conspiracy investigator show, and it wasn't picked up. He was the host. I was just a guest in the pilot season. And then I talked with the producer. I said, hey, they didn't want that show. I said, let's do a show with me. I'll be the host. We'll go and investigate conspiracies and secret societies. And he told me that he wouldn't be able to sell me. This is a big-time producer. He's produced Gene Simmons' Family Jewels show, and we're talking a very veteran producer in Hollywood. And he told me, he said, I can't sell you. Advertisers won't buy you. You are too controversial. And I'm thinking, well, how am I controversial when conspiracies are interesting? I don't say anything hateful to any specific religious or ethnic group. I love everybody. But yet, you have somebody like Eminem, which goes and raps about killing his wife, stabbing homosexuals, doing
because
drugs,
we're a violent culture. That stuff sells.
Well,
just like you said,
that the advertisers would say, you know what, like Pepsi, we don't want to support that. So it's they don't want to support me because I'm too controversial, but they'll support scumbags like him. It just
you called Eminem a scumbag. That hurts. I love Eminem.
Absolutely.
Oh wow, let's take the final caller, Al from New York. Al?
Joe, can you hear me?
Yeah, you got 30 seconds, brother. 30 seconds.
All right, I am a Mason, and what I wanted to say to the gentleman is that everyone is speaking of. They are books that was published of non-Masonry. Our studies, if he was to go look at it, it comes out of Lesson Look to the East. Okay? We're just like all the rest of the fraternities. You cannot walk into Alpha group and say, hey, I'm an Alpha. They're going to try you. There's a password and a secret handshake that they have to know who belongs and who don't. That's us Masons. Okay?
Wow.
We're not secretive.
Okay. Well, hey, Al, thank you for holding on. Thank you for the point. I've got to wrap this show. We need another two. We need 2 more versions of this show. Mike Dice, let me just say, Mark Dice, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for hanging in there and weathering Dr. Bob. He was a little feisty. And where can people find you right now? Where can they go to get your website, your books, whatever you're doing? Where can they get you?
Yeah, hit me up, like my Facebook page, Mark Dice, Mark with a K, Dice, D-I-C-E. Check me out on YouTube, do a bunch of videos, video blogs, Man on the Streets interviews. One of my most popular books is actually The Illuminati, Facts and Fiction, where I do analyze most of the major conspiracy theories and allegations about the Illuminati and separate the facts from the fiction, from what can be verified, what can be proved, what's speculation, what's
I got that book, actually.
Fraud.
I got that. I got it on my Kindle. And I read it, man. It's a cold book, man. So let me just say thank you. Appreciate you. We're going to do it again. And when we do it again, hopefully we'll get Robert back, and you guys could go and talk about it again. I appreciate you guys for being on the show. Voice of Reason. See you next week with another heater. That's what we do. That's what we're accustomed to doing. We'll see you next week.